Info13 signing in. I'm going to try and keep this video kind of fun, kind of upbeat. Just the amount of data that is streaming in on a daily basis that tends to be not so wonderful. So I thought I'll try and cover and make a crypto video. I haven't made one for about 2 years, gone back from some old videos. Previously, I think I was covering Bitcoin in general. I'd heard of it back in 2010, 2011 from Max Kieser. I am spewing. I did not buy any at that point, but had I bought some at that time, I probably would have bought it and put it into the Mt. Gox. I remember opening the Mt. Gox website going, what is this? Man, this is too hard. I just remember seeing the private address and the interface of the particular Mt. Gox at that time did not look very user friendly. The price of the Bitcoin at that time was super low. Yeah, so it's like if I had bought it, chances are it would have fallen to the Mt. Gox scam. So that's the Mt. Gox scam covered. Then leading up to that was I think it was Bitpetite, and I started noticing a trend within the cryptocurrency space. I can't remember how I got back into it. Basically invested a little bit into, I think it was like Bitpetite. They ran off with the money. The coins were pumping. I was buying some like Litecoin, etc., etc. Bitcoin. Didn't really pay much attention to Ethereum and stuff like that. It was mainly when Bitconnect came along. So at that point in time, I can't even remember how I found that. I think it was like through YouTube. I'm pretty sure I stumbled across that platform simply because of YouTube videos, especially ones made from, I think it was Cryptonic at the time and Trayvon. Now, yeah, everyone knows what happened with that, where that went, and yeah, I think that may have contributed to the price of Bitcoin's pump. Possibly, I don't know. At the same time, it happened to be going up. More recently, I think it was like OneCoin or something did probably a similar type thing. Now, at that point in time, I remember I was covering I was following some big Bitcoin news in terms of how China was banning it, etc. Whilst at the same time I'm not sure if they were mining it or the government itself, so the Communist Chinese Party, were actually investing in or mining cryptocurrency, whilst as they usually do, trying to keep this video upbeat, they clearly they tend to treat the people underneath them not so well. Now, just imagine if the people in China, not the Communist Chinese Party, but the actual people themselves were allowed to invest in platforms of their choice in any cryptocurrency. Now, since then, cryptocurrency, I don't know, it's like gone stagnant. There's not too much new stuff happening. I remember during 2017, near the peak, and then the pullback down to 3,000-ish. There was a lot of ICOs. I've seen some other platforms come and go. Electroneum comes to mind. I think there was still an app or something. They've changed it to something completely different. I have no idea. The the value of the coin doesn't appear to be performing all that well, considering the amount of time I held it for. What else was there? Yeah, so I think there was another one. What was the name of it? Drops or something. And I remember watching that. So at the same time, after being burnt from Bitpetite, Bitconnect, buying Neo, that was another one. Um, Watching the price of that skyrocket, then watching it come back down, going, yeah, I should have sold near the top. Held on to some Bitcoin for some way too long, and not all that much, mind you. And just watching the whole space evolve in terms of regulation, people are having their bank accounts closed, mad gains some people were making whilst others weren't. it's a very interesting space to watch. It's a new asset, you know. What else am I thinking of? The price predictions of 100K plus and $1 million. Like, I actually was sort of believing that back. This was back when you'd sit around and watch the price go from like in a day go up by about $1,000 per day. People would be asking like, so is the price just going to go up forever? Now again, I'm not sure how much connection that had with people entering into systems that were available at the time, promising those high returns. Now, more recently, I've been looking. I've noticed a trend more recently. So, the ICO boom and just garbage that came out of that. The price of Bitcoin since then has done like just nothing. Then more recently, that there was something I stopped following. There was like a OneCoin something, a Chinese cryptocurrency scam or something, and it pumped up the price a little bit. So apparently, the crypto cryptocurrency has been used for so many times. People have just tried to figure out how to scam people. Watching other platforms and their ICOs perform, they're not performing that well. They've always got that roadmap, the thing that's going to be complete one day. So years and years later, I'm noticing a trend. You'll see, I'm not sure if there's more widespread adoption by retailers. You can't exactly go to the shops and purchase I don't know, supplements or something with your Bitcoin at the moment easily. Yes, you can convert it into fiat. You can put that on like a card. You can put it onto like you can use different platforms. You can use a credit card. You can use PayPal. But the pure like take your cryptocurrency app or whatever and pay for it with crypto is not progressing very fast. I did see an article recently. It had Coca-Cola here in Australia. Some of their vending machines were accepting Bitcoin. Now I'm not sure the transaction fees on the can of Coke, what that would be like. I'll have to look into that. So more recently, I found the development that the decentralized mining network of Bitcoin, after watching some pretty interesting videos, basically presenting data that could explain that miners basically dump on everyone's heads. I never really thought about it that way, and it does make sense. And the sheer amount of miners and their hardware, where it comes from, where is it all coming from? It happens to be coming from China. Now, if there's a lot of miners in China because the power is cheap or whatever, they're not allowed to use it there. But you know, if there's an entity or government that is using it and trying to maybe gain control of the system, that would be a worrisome development. However, I'm not sure how far spread that is, and if it actually is a major thing to worry about. But when you do analyze that data set, it definitely makes me look at crypto in a different way. You know, you have large amount of miners coming from a certain area of the world whose intentions may not be that clear, and the miners tend to be dumping on everyone's heads. So where's that money going to if everyone's dumping? And then also another thing came along that was interesting, like how many times has Bitcoin actually been audited? Is there any bugs in it? That makes you wonder. Again, I haven't found any new articles on that, although I haven't researched that all that heavily. So moving on from all that, I probably missed a lot, but moving on from that, more recently, the development of, I guess, applications, I'm not sure what exactly they are, exchanges are being hacked. I remember keeping cryptocurrency in one particular exchange and it froze up, and I think it was like, yeah, sorry, you've lost all your crypto. So, okay. And then going through what is it? And you hold up a piece of paper saying, you know, this is I am this person and whatever. I mean, I don't know how secure all that is, but again, we live in the world where things probably aren't all that secure, especially anything on the internet. I found Liquid Exchange pretty interesting. They had like the video confirmation call. You actually called them through a video. I think it was on the phone. I can't remember, or webcam, and they actually like just confirmed who you were. You provided them. I thought that was interesting. That was actually something, because on an international scale, that would make identifying other people from other countries somewhat useful. Now, I don't know if they were using like facial recognition software or it was just a visual check by whoever was on the other end. I'm not sure whether it was recorded and put it into a system to be recalled. That could be basically how that data was stored, how it was used. I don't know. It was interesting though. Now, the app's basically encouraging you to give your cryptocurrency to be stored, I don't know how, with them. They then pay you, I guess, favorable interest back on that. Um, what was it called? I'm trying to think. DAI? And then the app, can't think of the damn app. It was basically an app that pays you interest putting your DAI with them. It was a pretty good return. It then appeared on an Exodus wallet, and you could like, if you had any coins in there, it would actually automatically allow you to use that application. But at the same time, that obviously when that happened, there was a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of people possibly doing that, and the interest rate just tanked. Now I'm trying to think what that app was called. Basically, it was one that you connect to Coinbase, and then from there you're able to exchange into other coins and lend it to. It's not Cred. It was another one. On the tip of my tongue. But yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone who knows a lot more than crypto, who knows a lot more about crypto than I, which probably knows what I'm talking about. So then the development of the Brave browser, I still use that today. That's pretty interesting. It seems to be similar to when you'd use like Internet Explorer, Chrome, whatever, in like safe mode. While you're browsing, earning some cryptocurrency. That's pretty cool. What else? What else has been new? So yeah, the apps encouraging you basically to lend your money to them. So they do what exchanges do, and like, I don't know. I guess some exchanges, it's kind of like you give them the money. You don't know what they do with it. They might make trades without you knowing because you're giving your crypto to them. It's up to them to look after it. And some exchanges actually don't, and they get hacked and they lose everything because yeah, it's not your crypto if you're not holding it, I guess, is the moral of that story. Now, probably in the midst of all that, so more recently I found some platforms that are paying pretty good interest rates to basically hold the crypto there. But again, you got to wonder if that was to ever be compromised, then would you be able to access all your cryptocurrency? How secure is it? Is it insured? Would you be able to get it back? That is worrisome. Celsius, that is the one that has a pretty good, like decent interest rate. I think there's another one, crypto.com, but it's not so favorable for Australian residents. But yeah, there's some interesting apps that like crypto faucets or whatever. Came across bitcoin.com recently. I had some like encouraging, some favorable link or something. I can't remember what it was. And it's like if you trade $100 worth of HEX, then you're able to get some pool of 20k. But then when you're looking at the trades, I'm like, it's actually not gonna make many money doing any trades on that. So I was kind of hesitant to go into that. Now, I guess the evolution kind of to do with cryptocurrency is Tether, not Tether, Telegram. So the somewhat secure chat, and there's all different groups you can join and whatever. That wasn't around. That's a relatively new thing. I mean, I might be wrong. But yeah, I'm finding quite often there'll be groups linked in to that. So for instance, there's a Hex chat. There's also a Ghost chat, which is pretty interesting. Again, that's another cryptocurrency that is very new in relative to other cryptos out there. But again, like I said, I haven't been. They're the main. They're everyone that I've mentioned so far is basically my entire knowledge about cryptocurrency. Um, I don't have the expertise of others in terms of the technical know-hows, the coding behind it, and what it can and can't do. It's what else? How can I explain it? My analysis is mainly from a user experience, um, maybe an investor experience. But again, most people are in cryptocurrency to make money. Um, how much of that money they actually put in though is interesting. It dependent on yourself. Now, with scams that have turned out to be scams, I know everyone got extremely frustrated and whatever, and they try and take it out on people. And I'm thinking, but the person, you made your own decisions. Like if I decide to buy a whole bunch of shares and lose it all, whose fault is that? I could say it's everyone else's fault but mine. But ultimately, it's your own decision. Now, you can either learn from your mistakes or you can just dwell on them forever. And if you've lost everything, then maybe you put too much in. I don't know. Maybe you should have done some more research before. I don't know. But I'm talking about like just any sort of investment in general, opening a business, investing in a risky asset, investing in property, investing in a term deposit, investing in bonds, stocks, whatever. I guess at this point I should mention obviously this is not financial advice because legal action may be taken against people who provide financial advice under many jurisdictions are falling under many regulations throughout the entire globe. So it's kind of sucks when you can't even talk about things, just express your opinions. I mean, yeah, you probably shouldn't be providing financial advice, but if you're just generally talking about stuff that you find interesting, and if someone else happens to take on that advice or take on those words and interpret them as you telling them to do something, then I don't know where this world's going. We look at YouTube, there's a whole lot of censorship going on. People are being censored even in the cryptocurrency space. I'm not sure why they're being censored. But yeah, that's YouTube for you because I'm pretty sure they've got a good business model. So that being said, there are some other platforms that could be used. But again, as other people have said, there's not the pool of people in those other platforms. They probably don't even know about those platforms. So that's going to be, a downside. A big downside. So unless you go out and make your own YouTube and you get kicked off of YouTube, how exactly are you going to function? It's like saying you got banned from a bank. Just go make your own bank. You make your entire financial system. Like that is not easy to do. Now I still think Bitcoin, is it's the first cryptocurrency, well, that I'm aware of, and I remember an image of coinmarketcap from the early days, and it was like 6 coins on there. Now there's like I don't know how many coins. I've actually moved away from going to that website. I go mainly to coinpaprika. They tend to be less. They actually include hex coin on their search function. Now, I'm not sure why others. Not sure why other. Well, not even search engines. They're just like websites that show the ranking of cryptocurrencies. I'm not sure why those websites don't actually show them now. It's driving me mad. I got to think of this website. It's not crypto.com. It's basically one of those websites that. See, this is the thing. They run mainly from Ethereum. Dapps. Decentralized apps. I think that's what I'm thinking of. That is what I'm thinking of. So compound your crypto. That was the one. Compound your crypto. So me being relatively new, because I was mainly focusing on Bitcoin and some other scam coins that came along, some other scam systems that came along, which I found out to be scams, and tried to, I don't know, figure out where my money went. Yeah, that was sort of the trend in cryptocurrency. There was a lot of scams, a lot of scammy ICOs. People have woken up to that, but then another scam comes out. But I stopped watching and following anything. People got scammed again. Yeah, more regulation has come along, I believe. I'm pretty sure that just means if like you're making a shit ton of crypto and you're not claiming any gains or whatever, then probably the relevant body of regulation will probably try and hunt you down. But yeah, because if you got all this money, like you think you'd tell them or something, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, the evolution of the dapps is pretty cool. So I've gone from mainly focusing on Bitcoin as the only cryptocurrency. I miss the entire like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin like little mini skirmish, whatever that was. But yeah, now after I guess hearing from others, Ethereum apparently has a lot more uses because, as I said, I'm not a cryptocurrency expert. Ethereum appears to be the place where these dApps, I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, like, so dApps can be built and things can be built upon Ethereum, because I've noticed when you have some tokens, you have to pay the gas fee, and I'm like, well, what is going on? I have no idea what this is. So that's why I actually didn't follow that much, follow Ethereum all that much, because I didn't understand it, that all these other tokens were being built on top of that network, so it allowed that function of that coin that was programmed in to work. So I'm like, wow, so most of them are built all on Ethereum, so the Ethereum network is being utilized a lot more than the Bitcoin network. One of those coins happens to be HEX. So moving on to more recently, I've discovered, I don't even know how I discovered HEX. I'm honestly struggling. I remember hearing something, watching a video, wishing I listened to that advice now, and finding the adoption amplifier and jumping in on the first day, not so much on the second day, like tiny amounts, and then just forgetting about it. And I don't know what happened, but around day 144 or something like that, I came back and I was like, wow, so it's up like 100x. I think it was more. So then I was like, what is going on? I was pretty, impressed by that. But the fact that I completely forgot I even had any. So, it's just my doggy. All right. So, jumping back. Yeah, anyways. So this is basically one of the first things I do in the morning is check this hex.live. It breaks down what the price is doing, basically. And I've been watching it and watching it. It just has, from its inception, there is a clear trend. It is currently up currently up, well, based on this chart, you can say, oh my God, it's like not up 100x. What's going on? It's a scam. But it's still up 57x. Oh, you broke in, man. How did you even open the door? Yeah, so where was I? All right. Up 57x. And previously, since its release, I can understand why people were so cautious about all the previous scams or the previous ICOs that led up to absolute garbage. Then Bitcoin's price kind of just keeps going down and down and down. Maybe it's being dumped. All the miners are dumping on us. Maybe there's, maybe a lot of the infrastructure is being moved to countries who may or may not have the original idea of Bitcoin's. Not the original idea. Well, how do I explain it? So Bitcoin was created due to the global financial crisis. Now, hopefully, it was an alternative to the financial system that is fundamentally broken. Now, with the unlimited printing by the Federal Reserve of the US causing, what do you think that's going to cause people with quantitative easing, etc., etc. Now, that aside, price of Bitcoin goes up, Bitconnect comes out. Well, and to me, I thought everyone just knew this, and I was thinking that's amazing. And the price of cryptocurrency as a whole was just going through the roof at that time. I think, like myself and many others, actually thought cryptocurrency could fundamentally change the way we live day to day. It could be rolled out in a way that mass adoption would take place, and you could go to the shops and pay for everything with the cryptocurrency. There would be a platform where you could literally earn huge amounts of interest from basically doing nothing. All of these ones then turned out to be a scam. I would say all of them, well, 2 of 2 turned out to be a scam. So I think there was others that tried to copy it also. So this is not, as I said before, this is not what cryptocurrency was designed for. It was not designed for scams. It was designed to present yourself with financial freedom. Then with that financial freedom, you have miners in China trying to take over the network and get financial freedom for themselves. What exactly do they have in plan for the rest of the world? We see more recently with lockdowns around the world, global chaos. Okay, and I'm going to stop here and try and focus back on to HEX. Now, with that being said, maybe, just maybe, I'm hoping this cryptocurrency is my lottery ticket to hopefully so far this cryptocurrency has been performing quite well, and I completely forgot I had it. I can't remember how I bought into it. It's gone from exceeding expectations to a point where it's like I'm watching it every day going, come on, why isn't it going higher? Why isn't it going higher? Can't it go higher now? I want it to go higher right now. And then on the Telegram chat, there's the Marshmallow theory, and I'm like, yeah, that's literally what's happening. I think maybe because as a whole we're getting short of memory spans or memories because of all the devices we use, our nature of our society, the social media. I don't know what it is. Computers in general, maybe decreasing our attention span and our ability to retain and have deep memories of things that are important, and also the things that we find important will also affect what we follow, especially on social media when everything's tracked and traced or whatever. And platforms like YouTube also contribute towards these tracking and tracing. Now, that aside, then the dapps are coming out and they got the decent returns. You got the stable coins paying interest. Now this evolution of the staking, so it's gone from the sheer brute force mining through energy consumption into the proof of work system. Now this proof of work system basically uses less power, and because it uses less power, it is good. Simple as that. I mean, you could argue, well, imagine if there was cleaner energy, like that actually had baseload, the capacity required to be used, but that's probably another story, or, anyway. So the transition for myself, because I don't have a miner, so I'm thinking, well, maybe this staking stuff's all right, because you're going to get interest from that. This company's still running that still you pay money for, and they mine on your behalf. I think that was another one. Genesis Mining, that's the one. Yeah, they're still kicking. Early on, I was comparing basically a system like Genesis Mining to a system like the infamous Bitconnect, where they offered you exorbitant returns for basically a Ponzi scheme. Now, obviously, one won out because one was legitimate, one was illegitimate. So, hopefully, after the most recent scam has finished, hopefully all the scams are finished. Now, once all the scams are finished and all the stuff, crap is out of crypto, what can be left is maybe something that is achievable. And this is going back years. This is actually a system which enables everyone who wishes to participate. Again, this is not financial advice. Maybe there is something out there that is always increasing. I'm going mad because I'm trying to find this documentary where it says maybe there's a way that we can have clean energy, and also at the same time as having clean energy, everyone can be employed. Or maybe there's systems that could be put in place that maybe makes the stock market always increase. And allows you to have a stream of income to free up your time to allow you to pursue things that you want to do. So maybe that be study, maybe that be research, maybe that be developing, maybe that be a combination of all three, thereby increasing humanity's chance of longer survival. Because at the moment, in 2020, it appears like the only thing we haven't had is a massive, large-scale war. So the cryptocurrency HEX is by far, the only thing I've noticed, except for McAfee's Ghost Coin, which has also blown me away in terms of its performance. Not quite the 100x yet, but when... Anyway, different video. These two coming out roughly at the same time. Both have the staking mechanism. ETH 2.0 is also releasing a staking, I don't know if that's the right word. You can stake your ETH and get interest from it, or a staking reward. And then, so that replaces the mining, I guess. So maybe that's the way cryptocurrency is, the trend that is being developed. So far, I think there's been a lot of Obiter, not much Dicta from memory. Now, the search engines have been updated recently. The search engine, previously when I searched it, had a lot of top stories, articles, news articles that were being resulted by the search engine, particularly Google, that I was checking, and it had a lot of negativity towards it. It had basically, instead of saying, is HEX a scam, it was basically saying, it is a scam, this is why it's a scam, this is a scam. It had like about, the first page was basically 95% negative articles. More recently, when I log on, there's less negativity. I have to dive in about, I think, second page, probably second page, but because it's more, the articles are somewhat more scattered in terms of positive and negative, it's not such a negative connotation to the search result, is what I'm noticing. So I'm not sure what's happened there. Maybe people or the algorithm has been changed, or someone has raised something with Google to explain that. So far, I'm not sure why the allegations of a scam are being put in place, as I've gone over before. Or maybe I haven't. Maybe I've just gone over in my head. I'm not actually explaining to the video. Maybe I better do that. So this is the sort of thing that was previously on the first page when you look up HEX Coin. Like, what is HEX Coin? What is HEX Coin? It's a scam, apparently, according to everyone, because it claimed exorbitant returns. But when you think about, like I said before, when I had bought into Bitcoin really early on, it would have been I'm not even sure if it was $1 at that time. I can't remember, $30 or $1. It was actually appearing in investment magazines saying, have you ever thought about this particular type of electronic money, they called it at that time. I have to pull up that article. And it was referred to, I think it was by Max Kieser as well. But yeah, I wish I bought that at that price, and I wish I had stored it externally, you know, talking to myself in the past. Because had I bought it, I'm pretty sure that I would have, like I said, I would have put it on that Mount Gox, because that was the first thing I found. But yeah. So there was a lot of search results that were negative. Basically, most people just read the headline. They don't go through exactly what. They just go, oh, it's a scam. I'm not buying it. It's a scam. And then this is the one that was really high on the search result, but now it's actually dropped off somewhat. So maybe there's been a change in the algorithm slightly. Or maybe more people are just more positive towards the coin, causing more clicks to and more favorable outcomes to be searched. I'm not sure. Then this one, it said the amount was trading for less than a Satoshi. Now, imagine at this point had someone bought a shit ton of HEX. But they would have been thinking, oh, but I'm going to get scammed if I buy a shit ton of HEX. Maybe they're a bit risky. Maybe they, had they have heard of it. Most people wouldn't have if they were making their decisions based on a search engine which was resulting in negative stories. Now, if the negative stories are being pumped out there, your decision making is affected, I believe, and that decision making element would lead you to make a decision you may not have made. So had you have done your own research and looked into, oh, maybe I can make some money off this, maybe this is an actual feasible project, listen to exactly what was happening, you may have come to a different outcome. So hopefully of this video I've made has explained some history regarding myself and my journey in cryptocurrency, and how I've actually ended up finding HEX. Although, as I said before, I still don't know to this day. I just remember watching a video and then making the decision. Well, Richard Hart, the creator of this project, seemed quite intelligent, and what he was saying made sense. Which led me to research more, which led me to make a decision. I read a lot about going, oh, it's a scam, whatever. Basically, I decided to buy some with my ETH through the adoption amplifier and see what would happen. And it turned out it turns out it is doing what I was told it was going to do. But because so many people have been scammed previously, people are so hesitant to actually go back into the cryptocurrency space because they've probably been wiped out before. I think this has been covered, like there's only so many people that can be wrecked before, and so you have to move on to the next group of people, which is really bad when you think about it. But when you think about how economies evolve over time and how economies develop over time, it's a similar market. You can't have high school kids with no income. They can't be the target of high-end luxury goods. You can't have and vice versa. So the product has to match the person's purchasing ability, and also vice versa. The product has to be relevant to the person who's wanting to purchase it. So you're not going to have someone with no teeth chasing chewing gum. I mean, that's just the one thing I can think of for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, so age relevant investments. So I'm not sure where cryptocurrency is right now. I'm not sure if it's who the target is of cryptocurrency. my thoughts are the exchanges would hold a lot of purchasing power. Large financial institutions would do the same. Those two I just mentioned would probably be, you know, in it to win it. You know, you don't have like, how can you go up against the purchasing power of someone much larger than you, like the equivalent to a mini whale? Because in cryptocurrency, as I said in previous videos, although large institutions are going to come and try and swoop in on the market because they want to trade it, they want to have leverage exchange, leverage trading, etc. They're going to have systems in place to have enough purchasing, have enough of the asset to, you know, lend out against it, so they can possibly, you know, wipe the entire buy sell stops, and that sort of thing. Then they're going to need the sheer amount of the assets. They're going to have to buy it all in. But those people, institutions, whoever trying to do this, buying all in, buying all in against things like Bitcoin, for example, those that bought in very early on still, I would imagine, unless they've sold all out of it all, I would imagine that they would have the majority of that particular asset. But that's, I guess, another story. It's just logical. Now, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that over time, the cryptocurrency space has gone from being like an outside sort of novelty to a few people that didn't even know about it, to being more well known, to being even more well known back in 2017, and then everyone got scammed. So not everyone, but a lot of people got scammed. The ICO phase came out, and again, I'd imagine people were making money off that. But again, if they didn't get out in time, they were getting scammed. If they held till now, their price has just gone down. How does that make you feel if that happened to you? And how are you going to tell others about cryptocurrency? You're going to go, oh, everyone, I lost all my money. I mean, I'm not sure that's something you'd be bragging about. And it might make you think, well, everyone's different. They might think, I need to figure out why. Or they might just accept it and go, that's just what cryptocurrency is, and walk away. And then with other scams coming along, it's just not helping what's going on. But with Hexcoin, I've noticed it has so far done what it said it was going to do. It is so far, I have not seen any, what's the word? Although the one thing I have noticed, because it's so new, and I'm guessing because it's cryptocurrency, people are having these crazy expectations for it to just skyrocket straight away. I'm not sure what it's going to do, to be honest. They have the big payday coming up, and then after the big payday, what's going to happen? Because my understanding is, I guess, the simplified explanation, because again, I don't know much about cryptocurrency, the background, the coding, the I guess even the infrastructure. It's more, I analyze what I can see and do my own research where possible. So from what I gather, the share price is the equivalent of, because I can't do that maths either, I haven't tried. So if the share price of Hexcoin is increasing and you hold more of the share price, then come time on that particular day, relevant to that pool of shares, your interest, I guess, amount that you will receive based on your stake, based on your time served, based on your share price, that is how much you will receive. So if you have more than the other person, you will receive more if you had an identical stake at the same variable. So time, length, at the pay date, if your amount you hold, you have more shares because you've staked longer. That's why you would get more, because of the share price is higher, basically, than someone who staked the same amount of you for a shorter period, but their stake ends on the same day. Chances are, based on the maths, you with the longer stake, higher share rate price, larger amount of the pool, you will receive a higher portion of the interest in HEX tokens. That's my understanding. Now, the adoption amplifier is pretty interesting because I was thinking about it briefly and I thought, well, so if people are buying in at the moment through the adoption amplifier, that ETH going in is printing new HEX coins. So after this, and I've seen some images on Telegram with the model basically going like this and then sort of jumping and then going up. And you look in the zoom in, you look at the zoomed in imagery of that, and the share price sort of steadies, and then it sort of just increases a lot and then goes up. Not sure why that is. Again, I haven't done the maths, but my thoughts were maybe on the end of the adoption amplifier because the because the ETH is not being purchased through the adoption amplifier. Now, I could be wrong. This is just my take on it. Again. Let me know in the comments if I'm way off or whatever. And so the adoption amplifier will stop. So if you want to buy into HEX to stake in it or to trade in it or whatever, so you want to buy into it, you're not going through the adoption amplifier anymore. You're going to be going through, where would you be going through? Probably Uniswap or other exchanges that offer you HEX coin. Now, how is their price determined? Supply and demand, like any other market. And there'll be any other parameters and variables which would set the rates of the prices. I guess you could look at it like that. So the adoption amplifier is gone. So people with that amount of ETH are then, if that amount of ETH is still the turnover thereabouts within tolerance, I could imagine where that amount of ETH is being purchased in other exchanges, and that would somewhat drive the price up that is being demanded. But again, I don't know, because there would also be sell side pressure where people end their stakes, and maybe that would drive the price down, I guess. So it's pretty impressive what I've seen so far. Like, as it's been mentioned many times, it's a finished project. How many other finished projects are there? I can't think of any. I'm not even sure, now it's been said to me, I'm not even sure Bitcoin is a finished project, to be honest. I still don't see mass adoption. Same with any other coin. I'm not sure they're finished products. The one thing, I guess, that is the only thing I can think of. So what happens if IP addresses can be blocked, and if you can't access but that should be okay, because I was thinking maybe IP addresses could be blocked. Maybe the hex.live.win maybe you can't access that, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure if that was the case. I know there's a backup site. I can't remember the link. Maybe someone could put the link in the description. If that was the case, how would you be able to access your page to end the stake? I'm not sure if that's like the only thing I can think of that is possibly could go wrong. That I was thinking of, but maybe someone could do that, run that function to end your stake, and then it would just appear in your MetaMask. So I'm not sure if there is a way to run that function without having to go into the website. That's the only possible risk that I can think of, is not being able to access the portal that you need to click on to end the stake, because then once you end the stake, it goes into your MetaMask wallet, because you're assuming it should be linked, etc. But yeah, but again, see, I don't have the technical background, so maybe that's an easy answer. Maybe there's an answer somewhere else that I don't know of. But yeah, so that's my summary. Bit long-winded. I could probably boil it down to like 2 minutes worth of HEX coverage, but I thought I'll give some background into the cryptocurrency space and everything I've experienced. Maybe someone else has a similar experience. Maybe they think all cryptocurrency is crap. Maybe they think cryptocurrency is the future. I don't know. All I know is that for something to like improve, then developments need to be made. That's just evolution. Otherwise, Otherwise, cars would still be like steam powered or whatever they were. That's about it. I mean, I'll put links to hex.live, my favorite website. I'm not sure if I've got. It's not even shown. Yeah, that's about it. I just can't wait to see what happens after the adoption amplifier, because I was going to go through here and show the share price and the correlation between the articles being released and the actual price of the HEX coin. I don't think it's overly related at all, to be honest. I think we had this very early on, pre-release date, because I think it was 11th of December. It hadn't been released just yet. So that was like, down here somewhere, so whatever. Then the price has gone down. I guess that would reflect on the article saying it's 1 Satoshi, which would relate to what date? 5th of January. So that's a reference point there. So we got 5th of January, which is about there. And so this is the point of time I didn't even remember I had this coin. And since then, I could have been watching it go boom, some red candles and boom, boom, boom. And then it just keeps going up. And I think the red line is its current price. So I guess you can see, the people in there, I guess they're buying some more, and people are staking, money's coming out. Currently it's sitting roughly there. So if I drew a line from, here to here, so what's that, like 0.0002, and it's now 0.003. It's done, as the website says here, 57x, and it's performing quite well, just like it said it was going to. My concern is now I've covered this, something bad might happen. I don't know. I hope not. Oof. But in closing, HEX coin, ETH 2.0, Ghost coin are basically things I have noticed that have caught my attention in the cryptocurrency space, because not too much else has. I've seen Celsius Network, I've seen Compound, I've seen things like that, and that's about it. I've seen apps saying, lend us your crypto and hope that we don't run away with it. I mean, that's about it. I've seen vending machines accept it, but again, I'm not sure what the fee would be on that. But if you had heaps of it, it wouldn't be an issue. But I'm thinking of people who are trying to enter into the space with a small investment, and they're trying to replicate the gains that played out with Bitcoin and its large gains, and Ethereum and its large gains. Pretty much any, not any token, but maybe the more reputable tokens, and their rise and their gains and the money that was made. People that are looking to make that sort of return in the stock market, in foreign exchange, in other areas, other investments. Again, you got to remember, cryptocurrency is one of the riskiest assets. It's almost one of the best performing assets. So it just depends how you play it. But could HEX coin be the actual cryptocurrency, the actual finished product, the actual coin to bring about financial freedom, to help to continue the plan that was left by Satoshi in regards to Bitcoin? I don't know. Maybe it is. It's too early to tell, because I must admit, I'm not pulling out massive amounts of money from HEX coin just yet through my stakes. I'm spewing I didn't pay more attention to it, because I might have been able to. But that's the thing. So if that happens and you start but it's dependent on the price of the coin and the marshmallow theory. If you like, oh, you take all your 57x out now, it's like, yes, I got my 57x, and like, yeah, that's pretty good. But then imagine you're like the guy that, yeah, the guy that I was just thinking of, the pizza that they bought, they bought with Hex. So you might be like that person that actually you cash in everything too early, and then it turns out to be the next thing that could have released you from the current financial system. Now, obviously, once you get out, you're going to be paying, well, if I get out and I get a crap ton of money, I'm going to have to be doing a lot of calculations to figure out how much damn tax will be owed on it. So I think that's, I think that's an okay thing. Kind of sucks though, but to me, you're making mad money. You don't want to you don't want to have any issues like that coming at you. That's just my thoughts anyway. Unless you go to, I think it's a couple of islands or something, or you do a McAfee. But yeah, so in closing, people that call cryptocurrencies a scam that aren't a scam, but because there are ones that clearly were a scam that I still want my money back from. But in saying that, had I had not been so greedy in those particular scams or not pursued them, I actually wouldn't have. I would have broken. No, I would have made a profit. But because I got greedy, I got wrecked. And plus, they were scams as well, so that doesn't help. Hopefully, all the scams. Hopefully, some of the scams are finished, because I saw one the other day. It was like, I almost fell for it for a split second. It's like, I'm Elon Musk. Send me Bitcoin and I'll send you this. It's a promotional. I'm like, what? And I was like sending emails going, so is this legit? And then I'm like, nah, it's not legit. So scams are going to always be around, so be careful. But hopefully projects, cryptocurrencies that present themselves as legitimate cryptocurrencies, hopefully those sorts of scams and ICOs that produce absolute garbage have ended. And you can't really stop someone from producing garbage. I mean, you could create a company that's garbage. You can't really stop them. I guess you got to do your own research, find out as much as you can about a project. I don't know. And at that point, you have to take responsibility for your actions, and you need to look into things. Because if you don't, and something goes wrong, you can point all the fingers you want, but in the end, you made that decision. My thoughts on cryptocurrency, I have grave concerns. It's a push for a one world type currency, electronic currency, where they get rid of cash. But at this, and it's been allowed to run so long. So I'm pretty sure if the governments wanted to cancel it, they could. Saying that, if it is here to stay around and it is legitimate, and there is versions that are going to be government run, and there is versions that are going to be like try and lead down that sort of path. I'm hoping there's counter versions that are like freedom coins, I don't know, that are finished projects that allow you to be financially free. These are the projects I support. These are the projects I'm looking for. These are the projects that will help the world, this nation, other nations around the world, basically find financial freedoms. And hopefully, as an entire planet, we will be able to achieve that type 1 civilization one day. We have extended health, space travel, and life extension through better health, and systems like cryptocurrencies that are able to provide for financial freedoms. And as I said, in these times, in 2020, it can go either way. Info Warrior 13 signing out.